Hi everyone, Corinne here, Chief Analyst of PV InfoLink. As we know, many of you were unable to attend this year's Shanghai SNEC show. We write a report and make a video this time to keep you updated on the movement in the PV industry during the exhibition. I will divide the content into 4 parts. The first part is China demand in the second half of the year and whether the skyrocketing polysilicon price will go down if the demand weakens. The 2 topics were the most discussed during the exhibition. Then I will guide you over the product display at SNEC show. The third part will be about special topics in the SNEC, such as BIPV and energy storage. Finally, I will conclude this report with the market movement and the technology trends. China demand. Prior to SNEC show, China's National Energy Administration issued a notice ruling the projects that fail to connect to the grid by the end of this year will be administered by energy authority in each province and including into the guaranteeing grid connected capacity in the following year. This means that grid parity projects approved earlier are allowed to postpone for grid connection until next year. Compare the module purchase with the price close to RMB 1.8 per watt this year with modules they are likely to be priced at RMB 1.55 to 1.6 next year. And coupled with the estimate RMB 0.01 reduction in the applicable electricity price, these projects IRR should recover. In light of this, some utility scale projects might be postponed. Having said that, most developers of grid parity projects in China are state-owned companies. They must meet their installation target. So we believe that only some projects will be deferred. For now, it remains to be seen how many projects will be postponed. And so we only revised down forecast for China demand slightly from 55 to 50 gigawatts. In fact, such a demand level is significantly lower than the 60 to 65 gigawatt forecast by many manufacturers at the beginning of this year. Some industry professionals have pessimistic views. They are afraid that demand might end up lower than 40 gigawatts and cause the industry to collapse. But we believe that this is not likely to happen because China's state-owned companies will try to meet their target, while the notice published by the NEA mentioned that wind and solar have a combined guaranteed capacity of 90 gigawatts this year. So the notice set the cap for the industry, means that the polysilicon price of RMB 220 per kilogram versus module price around RMB 1.8 per watt is the limit for the downstream players. They are unable to accept any price increases. Also, we revised down the forecast of China demand. We noticed that demand in the United States and Europe are stronger than expected in the first half. As shown in the China customs data from January to April, Apple's exports for modules and the sales stood at around 27 gigawatts, while exports from Southeast Asia to the United States also remain high. Therefore, our forecast for the full-year demand stay unchanged at 155 gigawatts. The figures comprise 50 gigawatts from China and 105 gigawatts from non-China regions. For the important topic recently is the attitude of the United States and Europe towards Xinjiang-made polysilicon continues to draw the world's attention. In the United States, the influence of Xinjiang issue has extended to the crystallized minor sectors and silicon powders and the industrial silicon manufacturing since May, with Xinjiang being the global capital of silicon powder and industrial silicon. More uncertainties are posed to the future of the entire PV supply chain. It is reportedly that United States sanctions against the Xinjiang issue will take effect in the second half of June, which we believe will not only affect projects in the United States, but also those in Europe. It is still difficult to estimate the degree of the impacts, as the document required after the real implementation remain unknown. However, price difference between Xinjiang and the non-Xinjiang made polysilicon are foreseeable. The decrease in polysilicon price next year cannot be estimated with the total production capacity output. Another topic is production capacity of the major manufacturers in India, Vietnam, and Malaysia have been affected by the pandemic. Some plants in India and the Beijing province of Vietnam were even closed, temporarily affecting module supply to local India and United States. This is what we've learned about market demand from the exhibition. The next will be look at the modules. Firstly, we will compare the mainstream PERC products promoted by the top 6 large module makers. This time, the top 6 doesn't include Hanwha Qcells because they didn't participate in the SNEC show this year. Unlike last year's edition, where manufacturers introduced a wide variety of the module featuring high power output and different sizes, this year, most manufacturers display the next generation products they are ready to be commercialized. As per our observation, PERC modules are mostly rated around 550 to 660 watts, and they come with 60, 66, 72 cells layout. Some manufacturers introduce small format module rate around 400 and 450 watts for the rooftop setter. If applying 210 wafers, N-type modules can boost a power output as high as 700 watts. There are also small format N-type modules rated beyond 400 watts for the rooftop. However, we believe that it's difficult to acquire large wafer with stable quality due to the polysilicon shortage this year. Thus, it will take until the second half next year for the N-type products to size up to the large volumes. Now, let's look at the wafer size. LONGi, Jinko, JA Solar stick to 182 format. They only displayed 182 modules at the exhibition. Trina only displayed 210 modules, and Canadian Solar showed the PERC module based on 210 and 182 formats, as well as 182 heterojunction module. They also show at 182. Ryzen also showcased 210 modules only. Meanwhile, quite a few foreign players have concern over the total elimination of 166 format next year. Indeed, utility scale projects will rapidly shift to the large format modules, but 166 module will be used in the rooftop market, and so they will still account for around 23% of the market share next year. Next, we look at the N-type product plans of the top 6 module makers. On the first day of the exhibition, launched its first TOPCon products. The company indeed has 3 gigawatt TOPCon expansion in Yunchuan, China. LONGi's entry into TOPCon caused the market to favor TOPCon rather than heterojunction next year. Several new PERC products lines have been reserved for TOPCon upgrade. A few manufacturers such as ICO have announced to expand capacity for N-type only and no more PERC. Jinko is the only top 6 manufacturer state has been mass producing TOPCon modules daily this year. This indicates P-type products have better cost performance and thereby enjoying the advantage over the N-type products. On the other hand, Trina and JA Solar both showcase the two technology, but their heterojunction are basically in the R&D stage. Originally, Trina had TOPCon production lines, but was temporarily closed for the relocation this year. Among heterojunction manufacturers, Canadian Solar made a special move recently. It launched heterojunction modules on 182 production lines. Ryzen announced new technology that claimed to combine heterojunction and TOPCon. However, we believe this technology is still in the testing phase. Major vertical integrated companies still embody large order PERC production capacity, and thus were not likely to see market advance toward heterojunction too soon. Therefore, in the recent 2 years, the production of the N-type products will focus on TOPCon technology, which can be upgraded from the existing PERC production lines. We estimate the market to see more than 15 gigawatt TOPCon production capacity next year, and heterojunction capacity expansion will be less than 8 gigawatts. Following these slides will be compilations of product size and power ratings we saw at the exhibition. We observed that apart from the top 6 manufacturers, they have clear direction for the wafer size. Other manufacturers displayed both 182 and 210 modules to embase their production line compatibility of the different size. Just like last year, PERC module most feature half cut and non-destructive cutting technique, paired with high density packing such as narrow spacing, tailing, normal spacing, and the plate coupling layout this year. On the other hand, Huansheng and Tongwei still display the single module this year. And N-type products here. N-type products displayed this year indicate an increasing number of TOPCon manufacturers. New PERC cell production lines installed this and last year are earmarked for upgrade to TOPCon. It seems that TOPCon cells are easier to be cut into half than heterojunction. This means that heterojunction need to narrow the gap of the cost and overcome technical barrier to compete with PERC and TOPCon and size transition. Overall, global N-type products output is around 6 gigawatt this year. This explains why the utilization rates of the products listed here are not high or even in the preparation phase. This table is other N-type modules. And let's take a look at the modules displayed at the exhibition. This page is for the TOPCon modules, and we can see that Jolie Wu's TOPCon modules shows 700 watts, and Tongwei's Shingo TOPCon modules are near 700 watts. And this page is for the heterojunction. TOPCon, Tongwei's heterojunction Shingo module is higher than 700 watts, and GS. And here is Huasheng, is a new company of the heterojunction player. And this page is for the back contact modules and other PERC modules. For the cell, this year saw fewer displays of cell. Although ICO showcased a piece of back contact cell, we were not allowed to take photos. We only got information they shared during the dinner party. On the whole, Tier 1 cell and module makers are gearing up for the N-type. but they are also watching closely the performance of the cost, efficiency, and yield rate of Tongwei's 1 gigawatt heterojunction and Longju's 3 gigawatt TOPCon expansions. While quite a few manufacturers have TOPCon capacity expansion plans, the equipment selection of the TOPCon is rather complex. At present, both LPCVD and the PCVD have pros and cons. Although manufacturers are more likely to choose PCVD, attitudes towards PCVD capacity expansion would be rather conservative now because LPCVD is relatively mature. Now we will quickly scan through other highlights of the exhibition. The first highlight is BIPV. BIPV used to dominated by the thin film modules, but since last year, most Chinese manufacturers stopped applying silicon-based modules with aesthetics or easier to install solutions to promote BIPV, such as frameless dual glass design and color code glass. On the right side, you can see BIPV products introduced by Longju, Jinko, Trina, Solar Giga, and Sunport. And with China's effort to achieve emission peak and carbon neutrality, energy storage became a highlight this year. We saw more PV manufacturers introducing energy storage solutions than previous year. Apart from the lithium battery manufacturers, and large inverter manufacturers, including Huawei, Sungrow, Google, lots of inverter makers. Vertical integrated companies, including Jinko, Trina, Ryzen, Qint, GCL, and Haitai Solar also feature energy storage solutions. InfoLink's sub-brand ESS InfoLink has launched an energy storage market report. Just like PV InfoLink, our energy storage analysts have rich experience in the industry. To learn more about our analysis and the research on ESS, feel free to contact us via the email on the last slide. Now, I'm going to conclude this report with a few points. For the supply and demand, as inventory accumulates each month, we project that global module inventory level has reached a new high, coming in at 25 to 30 gigawatts. Risk grows along with low modules orders in China and overseas markets in Q3. During the exhibition, major cell manufacturers ceased procurement of the wafer amps high price. Meanwhile, the developers of utility scale projects and module makers underwent price negotiation. As a result, the wafer cell and module and end users deadlock are likely to temporarily endure in the first half of June. Currently, polysilicon and wafers still see short supply, and thus prices are not expected to be reflected in the upstream sector soon. It means currently will be flat for the polysilicon and wafer price. If utility scale projects in China manage to strike deal at RMB 1.75 to 1.8 per watt after negotiation, recent price will be equilibrium, helping to stabilize the sale and wafer price. However, if the polysilicon price rise due to the maintenance in Q3, profit of the wafer sector may be diminished. For product size and technology development, this year, utility schedule projects in China and overseas markets start to choose module rate at 535 to 550 watts, examining that the modules showcase this year. 210 modules may feature 6 cell string reach 600 or 660 watts. 182 module last year, which mostly featured 72 cells rate at 535 and 550 watts. May also apply 78 cell layout to bring the power output to near 600 watts. For now, the competition remains between 182 and 210 wafers alliance. The industry will not move to the next generation size soon. Mitigating impacts on the size compatible of the PV plants caused by the rapid shifting in the module size. Moreover, it appears that 166 size will stay in the market for a while, and they will account for a certain share in the rooftop market next year. Technology-wise, module assembly varies in detail, except JS Solar applies zero space. Overall, technology stays pretty much unchanged from last year. In terms of cell technology, the price gap between TOPCon and the PERC module is above $1 for now, and the gap is wider with heterojunction. So costs remain a major issue of the N-type technology development. This is the conclusion of our SNEC report. If you wish to learn more about SNEC or our service, feel free to contact us via this email. Thank you and see you next time.